thank you all for making it out here. My name's Elliott Harding, and I'm going to try to keep this speech like the campaign. It's going to be short, and it's going to be hot. So, my name's Elliott Harding. I'm here to announce my candidacy for State Senate in the 25th District. A little bit about how I got to this process. I filed my signatures on June 11th. It took a month for the State Board of Elections to unanimously approve 3 remaining signatures for the 250 so that I can be an independent for State Senate. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago where I would be right now, I would say I don't know. And July is usually not campaign kickoff season, but here we are. And so this is our rollout. And this is going to be an aggressive campaign because this is a district that has had political turnover since the last time the incumbent ran. The incumbent ran uncontested for going on 8 years. And if no one steps up in this race, that'll be 12 years without a challenger. The district has changed, the issues have changed, and honestly, I think it's time for that seat to change. So a little bit about me. I'm born and raised here. I was born in Martha Jefferson Hospital just a block down the road. Went to high school about a mile down the road. Went to the University of Virginia for undergrad. I'm the grandson of the first teacher to desegregate schools in Fluvanna County, and the son of the father who became the first student to join his black classmates in Fluvanna County. I'm the son of a long-term lifetime educator and the son of a businessman. I come here with a work ethic and a strong desire to represent those who have been disenchanted and disenfranchised. After college, I went to law school at Washington and Lee. I've lived in 80% of this district my entire life. Albemarle, Charlottesville, Nelson County, and in Lexington while at law school. I returned here after law school and got politically active and engaged because I wanted to see change in our system. After that, I joined the Region 10 Board, a Community Service Board, and I served on that. I then went to Washington, D.C. and crafted policy at the national level, and then returned to private practice where I'm a criminal defense attorney and civil rights attorney representing those who have been exposed to the system. I'm here today primarily as an independent. My history has been with the Republican Party, but what I realize is our problems are not partisan, they are ultra-partisan. The divide is left and right, but that's a myth. It's not red and blue, it's top and bottom. Those with limited power are the masses. Those with all the power are the few. The corporate influence of the policies in Virginia run too rampant. It is those with the influence, with the corporate control, the regulatory control, over expansion of government that have disenfranchised and disenchanted people for centuries. So, people will ask as an independent, who's going to be your base? My base are those who have lost their rights, those who have lost their land, those who have lost their access to equal justice, those who have lost their families to overzealous and overbearing government, and those who have lost their businesses, those who have lost their opportunities, their tax revenues, and so on. So it is the connected few and those outside the system, and honestly those in power prey on our division, and they prey on our apathy. But honestly, there's more that unites us than divides us. And so those who have been impacted are praying and screaming for the issues to be brought to the House floor and the Senate floor here in Virginia, but they never make it that far because they're kept out. Politics has become a smokescreen. It has become a smokescreen of political theater. And that's why as an independent, I'm trying to cut through that noise and talk about the issues. I mentioned how the district has changed over time, and I'm here to provide a contrast to the incumbent in so many ways. I find myself to the left of him and to the right of him. But at the end of the day, I'm here on behalf of the individual, I'm here on behalf of small government, I'm here on behalf of the minority population. And so my number one platform issue is not the one that everybody sees on television, but it is criminal justice reform. Because too many of those people don't have a voice anymore, and the families have seen themselves kicked to the curb. It's those without means, those without power. And so for me, criminal justice reform is my number one issue. But there are also issues of corporate subsidies and sweetheart deals that have seen big businesses find themselves in control of the system, while the free market economy has been totally disrupted. We no longer live in a capitalist society. We live in a cronyist capitalist society. We have seen people want to have energy independence and keep their family farms in Nelson County. But instead, Dominion's control has put Atlantic Coast Pipeline and threatens to put the pipeline right down their backyards. So I hope to see Dominion disrupted, the pipeline disrupted, and the energy monopolization of our system disrupted. I believe our party process is a stranglehold where both parties have lost their way in some regards. And therefore, I'm a proponent of ranked choice voting as well. I believe that the people should be able to have to say who they get in power rather than the parties limiting their access. I've had to jump through those hoops myself, and here I am today, a month and a half later, announcing my candidacy. Ultimately, I want to see Richmond's stranglehold through standardized testing broken down so that our localities and our schools and our parents have the choices to dictate the curriculum and the outcomes that they want for their children, because they only get one shot at that education. I'm tired of hearing how over 10 years or 20 years we're seeing improvement, but that child only has 12 years to get through school. You get one shot at that, one bite at that apple. And so I hope to see our education system reformed, where it's no longer real estate tax-based funding and people being dictated where they go to school based on their zip code or based on their neighborhood. People with means already have access to going to the schools of their choice. The people should all have the ability to go to the school of their choice.
Hear, hear.
And I'm also tired of seeing big tobacco, big pharma, and big beer wholesalers controlling our drug access and the ABC lobbies. The ABC needs to go. We've seen what it means to breathe oxygen in that system, the amount of job growth in Albemarle and Charlottesville and Nelson and Rockbridge. It needs to go once and for all. The fact that the ABC officers carry arms and are able to point it at a girl at Harris Teeter with sparkling water goes to show that law enforcement can be supported, but not every government entity needs to be considered law enforcement. And so ABC is just the tip of the spear. But as an independent, I want to talk to my GOP brothers and sisters and ask you to take a step back and consider actions versus words. How many times do people run on a GOP platform and tell you they're going to do one thing, but then they get in power and the government gets bigger and people's rights go away, the spending goes up, and ultimately you're left disenchanted. To my Democrat brothers and sisters, I want you to consider this. Your incumbent has been in office longer than I've been alive. Have you seen your civil liberties grow over that time? And does his record reflect the Democrat Party of today? This is a man who launched his attorney general's race on the idea of expansion of capital punishment and disagreed with the Supreme Court striking down capital punishment for juveniles. This is a man who ran against gay marriage at a time when the party very much was asking for more. This is a man who's taken over 6 figures in Dominion's money and did not speak up against the pipeline until it was the ground was being laid in Nelson and Highland and Bath and the rest of the district. It wasn't until the threat of a primary challenge did he say, take the clean Virginia pledge. Well, guess what? I'm not going to get that endorsement, but I'm not taking any of Dominion's money. And ultimately, if he's going to put his money where his mouth is, he should give that 6 figures back to Dominion if he really means it. Okay, this is a man who now wants to say that he's for gun reform, but had no qualms getting the NRA's endorsement in 2005 against a Republican. And this is a man who co-sponsored legislation to protect the statues so people can recognize the debates here, but ultimately the blame is to lie where the laws are. It is the law not to remove them, and you can blame your incumbent for putting it there if that's how you really feel. Is that reflective of the modern Democrat Party? I will get attacked for my partisan history, but I'm here as an independent asking for you to lay your partisanship aside and consider who will aggressively advance the policies that you agree with and that the district needs versus who is going to toe the party line when push comes to shove. It's going to be a 3-month campaign. It's going to be a different style of campaign. July is not kickoff season. I will always be underfunded, but I will always be more energetic. I am not going to sell out for any corporate interests. That's not why I'm here. If I was doing that, I would have run on a party ticket, or I wouldn't have done it at all. Virginia needs to break up the stranglehold of partisan control. No better place to do it than the home of liberty in the first place. We have a long history of people getting tossed aside for those in power. I'm tired of seeing it happen to the disenfranchised and the disenchanted. And I'm going to leave you with this. The smokescreen of modern everyday politics is theater. And we want to talk about things that happened 200 years ago or 100 years ago, when oppression and overbearing and overzealous government is staring you in the face today. Let's liberate ourselves today, and I hope you'll join me, I know you'll join me on November 5th in advancing the issues today to lead to more freedom and more success. Thank you.